Welcome along, fellow time travelers and strange historians. This time around, we're going to check out some of my favorite photos of Lauren Bacall's apartment in the Dakota. You're going to see some really cool snaps, some of which you may have never seen before. Before I begin, please like and share the show and subscribe to my channel. And hit the notification bell. Now please join me around the campfire. This, of course, is the legendary Dakota Apartment Building located at 1 West 72nd Street in New York City. I know how much people would love to see the interior, so we're going to go ahead and tackle that with this show. This is Lauren Bacall. Well, sort of. She was born Betty Joan Persky. I love stage names. I think everyone should have at least one. She was born on September 16th, 1924 in the Bronx, New York. And she began her career as a model and later transitioned to acting. Bacall's big break came when she was discovered by director Howard Hawks, which led to her debut in the film To Have and Have Not in 1944. And this marked the beginning of her successful career in Hollywood. You see, the marriage between Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart is often regarded as one of Hollywood's most legendary and enduring unions. The two met when she was 19 years old, and Bogart was 45. Despite the age difference, they fell in love during the production. This is a photo of Lauren and Leslie. I know people hate when I say stuff like this, so here it goes. That's Lauren Bacall on the left, and that's her daughter Leslie on the right. Sadly, the great Humphrey Bogart passed away on January 14th, 1957. He was only 57 years old at the time of his passing. Doesn't that suck? I hate that. People die way too young. As many people do when they lose a loved one, they move away to try to get a fresh start, so they are not surrounded by all the memories around them. And so in the late 1950s, Lauren moved to New York City. And so she leased a 4,000 square foot apartment on the 4th floor of the Dakota. And that is where she hoped to stay for the rest of her life. And she did. You see, in 1960, the owner of the Dakota, who was the grandson of Edward C. Clark, passed away. And the residents managed to finagle their way into buying the entire building. And they turned it into a co-op, which is not like a condominium, by the way. In a condominium, you own your condominium. In a co-op, you own your apartment, kinda, sorta. You actually own sort of a piece of the building. And Lauren Bacall was one of the first to buy her apartment. Word has it that she paid the equivalent of $500,000 at the time, which you got to admit was righteous bucks, right? I mean, 1960, that was a lot of bread. In fact, the entire story of the Dakota's transition to a co-op is fascinating unto itself, and I'll discuss that in another show. Oh, and in 1961, Lauren Bacall got married to Jason Robards, and so he moved into the Dakota and stayed there until their divorce in 1969. Unfortunately, Lauren Bacall passed away on August 12, 2014, at the tender age of 89, in her Dakota apartment. By the way, as some of you may know, I was fortunate enough to have been introduced to Lauren Bacall prior to her death to discuss her apartment. In fact, I was even allowed to call her Betty. She agreed to speak to me because she knew I wasn't interested in asking her about her husband's or Frank Sinatra or her career. You see, she didn't want to talk about any of that, which was no sweat to me at all. I just wanted to talk about the apartment, the history of the Dakota, that sort of thing. I told her I was only interested in talking about her vintage knockers. That made her laugh. And by the way, I was, of course, referring to the 19th century hardware in her apartment. Either way, after she passed away, the apartment was put up for sale for $26 million. And after a price deduction, it sold for $21 million. But that wasn't it. You see, at the time, the monthly maintenance for that apartment was $13,595. That's a lot of bread, right? You got to pay that every single month to the co-op. So how did Lauren Bacall get to her apartment? I'm going to show you. After passing through the main entry off of West 72nd Street, she entered the courtyard. Now, if she would have turned to her right and walked up those stairs, she would have entered a lobby to access the apartments on the southeast side of the building. And following 1973, there's a very good chance that she would have bumped into one of these two people, or both at the same time. You see, that is the lobby that John and Yoko used to enter and exit from. Remember, contrary to what others have said and written, the Dakota does not have a central lobby. I mean, yeah, they have a security office to the right of the entryway, but that's it. After that, the Dakota has 4 unmanned individual lobbies, each with their own staircase and elevator. And I'll show you a cool snap of that in about a minute. And so Lauren would walk across the courtyard and enter the quadrant on the northeast corner. Now check this out. In the early days of her living there was a covered walkway on the west side of the courtyard, which I've shown in other shows. Anyway, it's unlikely Lauren Bacall ever walked up or down 4 flights of steps, but if she did, this would have been her view. It's pretty awesome, right? This is the lowest res and worst image of the layout of the 4th floor of the Dakota in my collection. Yes, I could have shown you a better one, but honestly, I kind of felt sorry for this one, because no one ever sees it. So let's just check it out. Lauren would get out of the elevator here, and then turn left and open up her front door. And then she would pass through a vestibule and then enter the hallway. This is the floor plan that was released when the apartment was put up for sale. As you can see, the unit has approximately 100 feet of Central Park frontage. So about half the apartment gets Central Park views. That's pretty awesome. As you can see, the apartment does not reach the north side of the building. So it's not as large as John Lennon's apartment, which I believe is roughly 4,500 square feet. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Before I continue, can you please do me a favor and like and share the show? And kindly subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. As you can see, the apartment has towering ceilings and original hardwood floors. To the left is the library with tall pocket doors. Looking down the hallway, you can see how long the apartment is. I mean, we're talking about nearly half of a city block. This photo was taken after her personal possessions were mostly removed. And this is how it looked when Lauren lived there, with many of her wonderful treasured possessions. This entry hall, by the way, is roughly 19 feet by 8 feet. Incredible, right? This is the north side of the entry hall, and you've got a great place there to hang your hat and hang your coat, and then put on your coat and hat while warming up next to the wood-burning fireplace. By the way, the apartment has 5 wood-burning fireplaces. This is the location of the apartment's library. It features a floor-to-ceiling window with a Juliet balcony. It is 19 feet by 24 feet. Isn't it cozy? By the way, many of the photos that you'll see are furnished differently than other photos, clearly because they were taken before or after the apartment was put up for sale. This is the great room. It's 29 feet by 23 feet and provides ample room for entertaining. You enter it through tall French doors, and as you can see, there are 2 large windows overlooking Central Park. This is the dining room. It is 24 feet by nearly 20 feet. It has 11-foot pocket doors, wainscoting, a wood-burning fireplace, a china closet, and a swinging door that leads to the butler's pantry. The windows in the dining room look out upon the courtyard. When the Dakota was built, it had hydraulic elevators. And one of the ways they collected water was to put metal pans underneath the radiators. And so the condensation would drip into them and then down pipes and then would collect in the basement. I know what you're saying. Wow, a lot of condensation would need to be collected. But yeah, a lot of condensation was collected. It was a pretty innovative idea at the time, and still is. But either way, it was a cool idea to collect the condensation and repurpose it for another use. This is a bedroom with its own bath and walk-in closet, and it is 15 feet by nearly 18 feet, with a window overlooking Central Park. And this is the Master Suite with Lauren Bacall with Sleep at Night. It is 19 feet by nearly 22 feet. It includes a bay window that overlooks Central Park. It has a wood-burning fireplace and a walk-in closet and a large bathroom, and there is access to a private study. And this is a photo of the study, which is roughly 15 feet by 15 feet, and it has its own fireplace. And this is the incredible view of Central Park that Lauren Bacall enjoyed while she lived in her apartment in the Dakota. So, what do you think of Lauren Bacall and her incredible apartment? If you were rolling in dough, would you have bought her apartment? For 21 million smackaroos? You know I would. In fact, if the current owner of this apartment, or any Dakota apartment, would like to invite me over for tea and scones, please feel free to do so. I'm very easy to reach. So if you want me, just whistle.
You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
And if anybody knows what that's from, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. By the way, I don't know who took some of the photos I have shown in this show, so if you do, will you kindly let me know so I can respectfully give them the credit they deserve. At this point, I'd like to thank you for joining me to check out some of my favorite photos of Lauren Bacall's apartment in the Dakota Apartment Building. Kindly remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because there will be more videos like this one, and I hope you'll check those out too. Please check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions. Specifically, I'd really appreciate it if you could become a member of my channel and or join me on Patreon. It's only like $5 or something like that. Go ahead and join. It would be so awesome. You'll get all kinds of exclusive content, including you get to hear my podcast. You could also leave a super thanks in the comments below. Kindly be kind to all non-human animals, and please don't eat them. They don't like that. You wouldn't like that. Remember, for the benefit of compassion for all living things and their own health, all of the Beatles and other brilliant people throughout history chose a plant-based diet. And please do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog or both. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.